Pink. We're starting
we're
now.
Good. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Our Kind of Homesteading. We're your hosts, Sherry.
And Shauna.
Good job. I always look at her like, that's your cue. Say your name. I have a crazy control problem.
I want to do the thing where we say each other's names. Like, that's Sherry. That's Shauna.
That's Shauna.
We can have a little song that goes with it.
We are doing that.
That starts off our podcast.
Your husband could totally make a song up.
Yeah,
He's
come on.
all sorts of good with the ryming.
So we're hoping to get him all hooked up today with not he's camera shy, but just on a microphone, so you could hear all of his little.
I'm sure you guys have heard him in the past. Like when I've listened to our podcast, you can faintly hear him in the background when he says things, but it's not the same. And we wanted him to input his little jokes every now and then, and
yeah.
Anyways, we are going to figure it out. Is going to figure it out.
When we say we mean him. But he'll figure it out soon enough for everybody who can enjoy his amazing voice.
That's right.
Anyway, so today we are talking about common mistakes that people make on the homestead, either just getting started or if you've been doing it forever. These are some of things that we've done. Some of them are just things that we know that other people have done or been like, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that. And we're like, okay, you just kind of
lesson learned.
Yeah, take note of it.
Yeah.
Noted.
But it's nice to hear from other people's mistakes, because hopefully then you won't have to go through as many, hopefully. And even if you've already started your homestead, hopefully some of this will help you out.
It gives you something to think about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, numero uno, always do research.
Here, I'm just going to, and I know nobody can see this hair back here. But
is it bothering you?
It's really bugging me.
Okay, well, I appreciate you helping me with my hair. So, I think a lot of people underestimate Google. And I think we've hit on this before a little bit, but I mean, if you have a smartphone or really a computer, then you have all of the information throughout the entire world just at your fingertips. And it's freaking amazing. I mean, that wasn't always how it was, obviously. We didn't always have, internet, at all. So
I tell my kids that often, actually.
Yeah, ditto. I'm like, we had to go to the library.
I'm like, I am
and
older
it was
than
awful.
Google.
I love the library now, but not so much back then. So anyways, I think what I always want to tell any homesteader is do your research. You want to get into cows, you should do as much research as you possibly can from multiple different sources, gather what speaks to your soul on that topic, and then go forth. And obviously not just Google, but use other homesteaders around you, use their experiences.
And not just for animals, when you're getting into an animal, any project.
Anything.
Any project that you're starting on your homestead, you should do a little bit of research about it, because there's always going to be something where you're like, oh God, I should have done it that way instead.
And if I just research a bit more, I would have known that.
Yeah. So it's just, doing your research will save you a lot of heartache in the end.
And usually money, by the way. It will usually save you money.
That's true.
Because you go about it the right way and you do it what, is going to be just better in general. And then you're like, oh,
see, but
well, look at that.
That's my vibe, though.
Doing things the wrong way?
Not. Yes. No, I just, when you have something and you're like, this is what I want to do, and I just want to do it.
No, yeah, for sure.
And I don't want to take my husband.
No, see, I'm not that way at all. I do not just want to do it. You're very impulsive.
Thank you.
It's fine. It's a compliment. It's good. Yeah.
I appreciate.
I'm just not. I'm not.
I think
impulsive
it's awesome.
At all. Yeah, I think it's awesome too. Yeah. I'm just
so
my
husband's
person.
like you. He's not impulsive at all, and he wants to research, and is very OCD about things. And I'm like,
I just want to learn everything I can about something before I embark on anything, because I want to have all the knowledge.
Well, then it usually ends better. Mine is usually well, that didn't work out. Next.
Doing it again without researching. Here we go. Jumping 2 feet in.
So I might have made a lot of mistakes,
but she had a fucking fun time doing it, okay?
But it's been great.
Great times.
Yeah.
But see, that's funny, because I feel with your personality, the mistakes don't bother you as much.
They don't bug me at all.
Well, there you go. See, mistakes, I'm like, God damn it. I hate it. I hate it. And I hate having then to, okay, what am I going to do now to get out from under this mistake? Because it has to be correct. It has to be perfect.
Well, just fix it.
Well, but see, then, no, Shauna, you're not understanding. I dwell. I'm a dweller, okay?
You're not so much. If anybody dwells, like honest. Like he takes that prize for sure of like dwelling.
Well, I didn't say I dwelled as much as your husband did. I just said I'm kind of a dweller, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, we're getting off topic.
I just like, I'm more like, wee, you know, like.
We know.
I'm just trying to have a good time. I don't want to like take too much time, and it's because it's like boring, you know. You're like,
yeah.
It's just
Shauna hates like. I mean, I really feel like you don't like research. Well, I don't know. You do like to research those like certain things. If you know that you do need that knowledge, but see, most of the time she's like, "Nah, I got it."
I think I know more than I do. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
No, I don't. I don't think I know. I don't think I just.
For some things,
maybe,
yes.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. She's like, oh, well, maybe.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
I just like, I don't know. Like things like where I'm like, it sounds easy and I just want to do it.
No,
and then
for
I'm
sure.
like, it wasn't as easy as it was in my head.
Right.
And I've made lots of mistakes.
You learned the hard way, unfortunately.
I do like researching like lots of things about like history. Like
yeah, Sean's a huge history nerd. That's my point, is that you don't mind researching in general, but like when it comes to like, I'm going to research the best garden bed, like she would never do that. You would never do that.
I kind of I didn't really.
No, you wouldn't.
No, yeah, I kind of did though. Like a little bit for these last ones.
Like a little bit. She's like, I read 2 sentences. It was research. Okay, I did it.
That's research. Done. Anyway, so Sherry does make a good point, but especially like you should do it always, but especially when it comes to animals, because a lot of people don't really understand, like they want to get into dairy goats. I just was talking to a lady the other day, and she wants to get into dairy goats, and she had no idea that different dairy goats' milk tastes different depending on the breed.
Yes, and that's something that you would very much find out if you just did research. And then research is
and that's something where it's like hard to go back on, where you're like, okay,
yeah,
like,
shit, got the wrong breed.
Yeah, or I hate the taste.
I mean,
then
you're having to resell goats that, you know, and obviously usually selling like a goat in milk is pretty easy, and you can get quite a pretty penny for her. But you know, it's just one more thing you have to go through, and then finding the goats that are like, oh, this is actually the one I wanted to have for their taste of milk. And you know, even more. I was just on some social media platform, and there was someone on there being like, I have 2 Highland cows, and one is 6 months and one is even older, and I want to get them dehorned. What? I mean, well, that's not going to happen like at that age. I mean, you're talking about going to a veterinarian and like an actual surgery.
Yeah.
Well, because like you can't just like, and when you burn horns off of a baby, it's very, very different from actually removing horns that are fully grown. I mean, they leave like holes in their heads. And anyways, she basically in her original post put like, don't hate, and I'm not looking for negative comments, but a bunch of people came back with her obviously about negative comments because. And one brought up a really good point. She's like, wait, she's like, you're the same woman only like a month ago saying that you're going to get these Highland cows, but then you clearly did no research to realize that they have these gigantic horns, right? And you jumped feet first, and then you're like, oh, well, shit, now I don't want their, you know, no, I don't like their horns. We're just going to get them dehorned. And it's like, I don't know. It's just messed up for the animal. And
yes,
I think that's what we're saying is like.
That's what I was going to say is that a lot of the times it's like the animals that suffer because of your lack of research. And
exactly.
That's kind of shitty.
And just your lack of judgment and stuff. It's like, nah, don't do that.
So
just
like and we've all like
research.
And we're not saying like we've totally been there. Like I you know, chose not to disbud my large Nubians, and like, yeah, I totally regret that decision. But like, and we've always disbudded in the past. It was like the first time where I was like, I'm not going to do it. I feel bad for them. I don't want them to go through the pain. And then I totally regretted it. But it's not like I was like, I'm getting rid of these goats, or because this is my fault.
Exactly.
I own my mistakes, Sherry.
And I mean, honestly, I feel like selling them would be much better than like dehorning an adult. I mean, it's just just crazy and just anyways,
expensive.
Really expensive. I mean, that vet bill, you're looking at upwards of like $800.
Yeah, because I have to be like.
I mean, they're not euthanized. Sorry, they yes,
but kill them and then take their horns off.
You know, they had to put them under, and
they won't learn nothing.
Obviously, the process of removing an already like completely formed horn on like an adult animal is just very, very intense. And like I said, those horns grow into their head, like they're in their head, like your fingernails are in your finger. And so it's not like, you know, it's a process. So anyways, moral of the story, just do a lot of research before you get any animals. And even if you're like, oh yeah, these ones sound great, they're so cute, I want them and I'm going to get them. It's like, just, I feel like.
Yeah, baby animals are a weakness for a lot of people.
Yes.
Like they'll see something and they'll be like, it's free. I get to bottle feed it. It's our first adventure into sheep and I'm just going to do it. And like, but then you're like, okay, well, shit, now they have to be, most
have to be sheared besides the Barbados.
Yeah. And if you don't shear them, then they'll just keep growing because they've been, bred to the point that they can no longer shed their fleece. Their own.
Right.
They have to have somebody like do it for them. And it grows so quickly. So it's just like there's a lot more to it than just feeding and watering this animal.
100%. And there's always going to be more than just feeding and watering animals, by the way. Always. Hands down, always. I mean, look at a dog. I mean, there's a lot more to owning a dog than just feeding and watering it, right? So,
true story.
Yeah, research will save you, and it will save any animals.
Are we getting too luxury?
I don't know. Are we?
Yeah, kind of.
Are we?
I think so.
I think so. She's like, I'm the lecture police. You're failing miserably.
I just don't want to be too luxury.
Just do your research. There you go.
There we
That's
go.
all I wanted to say on that.
Point made.
Point made. So next one.
So these are some mistakes that we've made in the past. Getting into this off topic a little, not off topic, but off of animals, into the garden. I think a lot of people will, when they make a raised bed, they do it like, they're like, I want the biggest raised bed possible or whatever the case may be. And so they
like the widest or whatever, you know what I mean?
So they'll either make their beds too short, and a lot of vegetables, have deeper root systems. And so they do need to be like, I think it's like 18 to 24 inches high.
Like tomatoes need like 24 inches, for example.
Yeah. So they do have to be fairly deep if you're planning to plant vegetables in like an above ground bed.
Right.
And then the other thing that happens a lot of the time is that they make their beds too wide. And this is tricky. And Sherry and I were talking about this because the beds that we just put in are 5 feet wide, but I could still sit. We made them out of, I say cinder blocks, but it's concrete blocks. So don't come after me. I know you can't. Cinder blocks are bad for you. And but the antique cinder blocks, again, research are as bad for your soil because they're made with some kind of ash that gets into your vegetables.
Oh, I did not even know that.
I did.
Well, there you go. Look at you researching.
See, I do. But I was talking to somebody about making it out of cinder, and I said cinder blocks, and they're like, you shouldn't make it out of cinder blocks, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, it's like concrete. It's just concrete. It's fine. I already did the research. It said it was totally fine. It can produce lime, but it's not going to do anything to your vegetables or your soil.
Good to know.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So anyways.
Yeah, so the garden, the actual size of the garden
how wide
beds,
it is.
Exactly. So you need to be able, you don't want to step necessarily on your raised beds because the point of your raised beds is that your soil then is not compressed.
You want it
it's
nice and fluffy.
Loose for all your plants to grow their roots and have enough space and wiggle room.
And if you're stepping all over
then
it, you're just compacting it and making it hard, and then it's just not as good for them. So you want to try to stay out of your garden beds as much as possible. You can like I said, I can sit on mine and reach across into the middle, or that's what I'm thinking I can do. And then
that makes sense. You can sit on both sides, either side, and be able to reach mostly, anywhere.
Yeah. And then and because I was planning to plant strawberries in the keyholes of the little cement blocks.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, I need to make room at different sections that I can sit at. So nothing's I just
very, very,
see
good
things you have to think about.
Good.
But and then Honest was actually saying, my husband, he was like, I can do a what's the board thing called?
Plywood?
No, come on, honey, the board thing that you're using. Anyway, a plank. There we go. There's the word. A plank of wood. To put it across the bed, and then you can basically, it'll just go from
like a bridge, essentially.
A bridge.
Yeah, that's cute.
Exactly.
That's a good idea.
And then I can move that along and sit on it if I need to, if I can't reach something, or if I'm like, okay, it's whatever.
I like it.
So that's our plan. But the other thing that people do, actually, if they have their beds are too wide, is they cut out little keyholes. Okay, I'm gonna use a lot of hand movements here, but okay, so say your bed's like a rectangle, right? And then they'll on the end of the rectangle, they'll cut out a little portion and like board that up so they can get to the middle of the bed.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, see?
And make
worked
it
for you, huh?
Yeah. It worked
All
for you.
of
I
these
mean, I think so.
visuals.
I'm not sure. Did it work for you? though? That's the question.
So yeah, so there's lots of things to think about when you are doing raised beds or
Yes.
planting your garden. And even like the different fruit trees need different things. Some like clay soil, some like the nice what's the word? Jesus Christ. Like drainage. You need like good drainage.
Okay.
So like different things are like not every fruit tree is going to need the exact same thing. And so there's things you're going to have to think about because once their root system gets down there and they're like, oh, I hate this soil, they'll just die on you. So it's
I hate the soil. I'm dying.
honestly though, right?
No, for sure.
And so like there's things that you can do to combat that and before you get into it. So other things to think about before, like there's
You have a fuzzy on your face. Can I get it off for you?
yeah, thank
Sorry.
you.
You're welcome. It's tiny fuzzy. You probably couldn't see it.
Probably for my microphone.
It probably is for your microphone.
Actually, like I'm like covered in hair and fuzz, so
Weird.
yeah.
Speaking of fruit trees,
Yeah.
that's another thing. Do not make the mistake of planting anything before you have any kind of deer fencing up.
This is an excellent
Very,
point.
very important.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. The deer will come. They will eat your fruit trees. They will eat basically anything and everything. Even those plants that you're like walking to the nursery and you see the tag and it's like deer resistant. Don't believe those tags. They're liars.
Well, there's deer.
You know, because when it comes down
There's
to
two
it and it's
different
like
ones.
super hot out, it's dry, there's barely any food for the deer, they will eat those deer resistant plants unless they're like freaking poisonous, which they normally aren't. So
yeah,
just wait to plant anything until you have either a really good deer fence up or until you know that like, okay, like deer don't come onto our property, but not because of a deer fence, it's because of our dogs. So I don't have to worry about deer fence.
It's not like, because her dogs are out 24/7. So
Exactly.
It's not like, well, we have dogs.
No, my dogs are
It's
out
not the same.
all the time.
They have to be out
and
all
my
the time.
dogs hate like anything. And my one chased away a peacock. It was very sad. You know, they just no,
Unless
nothing is
they're
allowed
welcome
on the property.
onto the farm.
Exactly. So, yeah. So, and, you know, because I think, you know, you guys planted all those fruit trees.
We did.
Or your in-laws, actually.
They did.
Planted a bunch of fruit trees and you know,
The deer ate most of them. I think we have like 9 out of the 20 left, or maybe even less now. They did kill off quite a few. And, you know, and we had tried to put like and that's the other thing. It's like, if you're going to do it, just fucking do it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Just put up the deer fence. Just do it right.
So
and then you know,
yeah,
like, okay,
we
my
had
fruit trees are
tried to
safe.
put up like this, like bird fencing.
Like a netting type of stuff. Yeah.
And, yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Failure.
Just like, first of all, like the things get trapped in that netting all the time. It's super like depressing when you find like a dead animal and it's because of your stupid fence. That's annoying.
Right.
We've had an owl that we had to go save out of that stupid bird netting. I have got most of it down. I still have to get a little bit down in the lower field, but yeah, I've taken most of it down. But it's not going to last long. Like, you just need like even like a deer fence that you're going to spend a lot of money on and put up. It's not going to last forever.
Well, no fence is going to last forever unless you're
Yeah.
you know, putting in that, like that Trex decks fencing. It's like the same thing that you use for Trex decks. You know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
It's made of like composite wood and it essentially never goes bad. Very, very cool. Very expensive. Maybe worth it though, because you're going to have to redo.
Like, can you get it for like, that's what it, because it would have to be at least like. What?
Well, no, I don't know if they make that
Yeah.
specific fencing for like a deer height. No, I don't think they do.
Yeah.
I mean,
This
this is
deer
just like
can-
normal.
even if you have, like, an
4.5
8-foot
fencing.
fence and the deer are like, I want that, they're gonna be like, whoop. It's just crazy what they can jump. It's insane.
Yeah, if they want to jump it, it is pretty crazy what they can jump.
Yeah, I think the one we were looking at is around, was it 9 feet?
7.5 feet.
Oh, really? Ours, so 7.5 feet. But
I was gonna say we've never had a deer jump into our garden. Even before we had the LGDs running around, we have the 6-foot garden fence, and they've never been in there. And we used to have a lot of deer on the property.
Okay.
So about 6 feet, basically. Yeah, I don't know. They're not going over 6 feet.
I don't think 6 feet is good enough.
They've never gotten in the garden before.
I don't know. Well, I think it's also it's more closed in though. Like if it was just you had just that up, like on the perimeter of your property and no LGDs running around, I think they would jump it.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
because
yes.
it's a tighter space.
It's a tighter space.
They're gonna feel
it's
like
a big space, but I feel because like they have to come over a one fence and then go over that fence, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
So,
anyways, just put up fencing though.
If you're going to, if you're planning on
will-
planting things like an orchard, there's other things that I know like other farms do. They have instead of like a deer fence, they do like the automatic sprinklers that if the motion activated ones.
Yeah.
And so the deer come by and the sprinklers activate and then the deer are like, I'm getting wet, I'm leaving.
The water's scary.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
get it. And then like Sherry said, she has the LGDs. They don't have like a deer fence up, so but they still can't plant anything they want wherever they want because of their alpacas are roaming. So
Yeah, I mean, we have our main garden and then our vegetable garden, and then I did a medicinal
but
garden.
they don't.
last
But
year.
alpacas don't jump.
They don't jump. Like the medicinal garden is, my husband put pallets we use pallets as fencing. It's very short. They don't go over it. I mean, they're not jumpers. They just walk around like idiots. You know what I mean?
Like they're little potatoes.
Yes, and yeah, but they do eat everything. Yeah, can't have alpacas running around if you want things beautifully planted by your house
Growing.
or anything like that.
So getting back to like animal stuff, and Sherry said like don't plan a fence or don't plan on like fruit trees or a garden before your fence, like things they have to happen in a certain order, right? So the same goes with animals. Like don't plan to get animals before you have the proper fencing and housing for them. So
Yeah.
I've seen so many people do this,
Yes,
and
so many.
it's just
And then they just get upset then, you know what I mean? And it's just like it gets chaotic, it gets stressful because you realize like, some people will try to use the what's that fence called where it's essentially like hot, but it's just like one little strip and they'll stake their animals out in that more or less. But goats are so just specifically goats.
Like you need like a fence.
You need
up,
a fence
you
because
need,
they're
like,
gonna just
like
go
Fort
through
Knox that
Yeah.
shit. Like don't think that you can.
I mean, we have goats jump over 4.5-foot fence, by the way, multiple goats.
Yeah.
Our one La Mancha, she's just like, bing, taking myself for a walk. Fuck you, and she's a big old brat. But yeah, so definitely have your fencing in place.
She's a rebel, Sherry. She's a rebel.
Make sure you have a gate for that fencing. I know that's kind of a weird thing to say, but I feel like some people are like, oh shit, we've got a gate.
I think the biggest thing there is your night pen, so your night enclosures. If you don't have like LGDs with your herds and you're not locking your animals up at night, your animals are going to get taken. If you have a high predator load or even any predator load that is like mountain lions, bears.
I mean, even coyotes. Even stray dogs.
They're
like a pack of
gonna,
stray dogs,
right? They're going to take your animal. You're going to be sad in the morning.
You're going to be sad. And one less mouth to feed. You know?
So
unfortunately.
I've seen a lot of people do that, and they're like, oh, we're working on it, or we haven't gotten it all the way up, but we
Yeah,
have these.
yeah.
And they'll have like babies out there, and you're just
You're like,
really?
That's not a good idea. That's not a good idea.
So, and even putting like baby things out in pens like too early without like a mom or anything to protect them is a really bad idea. You have to think ahead.
These predators are not only going to be taking animals during the day, some can be super brazen and, they'll just come right up and take things just in midday. They're like, and I'm taking that as a snack. It's gone.
Like bobcats are really notorious for.
We had a mountain lion just that was like last year sometime at the property, like right basically below us. Took a baby goat like during the day and came back the next day. Took another baby goat. It's just like gone, and so definitely and of course that's going to be based on like where you live. I'm talking about a piece of property that's deeply wooded. When you have like a deeply wooded like that, like it's just lots of areas for predators to hide, and you just can't see those things. Like when they want to hide, they hide. And when you're talking about an open space of land, okay, it might be it's a little bit better because no predator wants to be out in the open like that.
I don't know. I feel like so when you're planning like your fencing, especially like it's not just to keep your animals from getting out, but other things from getting in. Right?
Exactly.
So especially if you don't have things like LGDs, the livestock guardian dogs. We say LGDs a lot. So if you don't know what that is, livestock guardian dog, specific breeds. And then yeah, so I think fencing is huge when it comes to planning out your homestead. Huge.
Yes, huge. Just fence your property, and then you have sub
Securely
fences for all of your animal pens. If you want different pens, whatever, you have bucks, okay, they need a separate pen. You have does, obviously they can't always be with your bucks. It's not going to be good for them or you. And maybe a pen for babies, whatever,
Inbreeding is no bueno.
Yeah.
For any species.
Yeah. So that is good about fencing. Oh, the next one, that was your idea from Amy.
Oh, yeah.
Chicken coop.
Yeah. People love their chickens and they love planning their chicken coop, and they'll get onto Pinterest, they'll see something really cute that says KFC on it or something, and they'll be like, that's adorable, that's exactly what I'm doing. And really, you have to think of it logistically, because a lot of the times, especially those coops you can buy, I think they're such a waste of money. The small ones that are at the feed store, they're $500 or $600.
Yeah,
and they only fit 3 hens, and they're just not well made. I do not suggest getting that. If that's something that you have to do while your coop is being built because you didn't plan ahead, then fine. But honestly, building a nice coop that you can walk into. So our friend, she has a really cute coop, a really cute chicken run, but she's I just hate it that we can't get in and stand up and clean it out. Which I'm that would suck, because
You gotta, you're gonna have to clean your chicken coop.
You're gonna have to clean out your chicken coop. And if you can't stand
times
up in it, or you have to lean over something and be scooping it out, it just is going to be so much more of a pain in the ass than being able to walk into your coop and taking your shovel. And Sherry even said having enough room in there to maneuver your shovel or whatever. You can always use something smaller, but again, then it's
more work.
Well, it's more work because there's a lot
work
of
smarter,
bending
not harder.
and stuff like that. If you're getting older, you're not going to want to be bent over into a 3-foot little position for
our coop is
too long.
I'm short enough to be in our coop. My husband is too tall, so it's not tall. You know what I mean? I barely fit in it. But the problem is my shovel is just a little too long, and I don't have an oddly long shovel. It's just a normal shovel.
Maybe you do.
I'm gonna get you a small shovel. I'll scoop, and then I'll go to put it out the door, and I always hit this part of the shovel on this wall behind me.
I hate that, because then it all knocks it off, and you're just
just looking at it I
hate
you right now.
You.
So just these little things that just make your life so much easier, and
That's
you won't be cursing at inanimate objects.
Our Nige pen, our overnight pen, we didn't plan for it to be a long-term thing. We got it. It was originally a chicken coop, but it's not high. I don't know measurements. I've said that before, but it's it's shorter than me.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. So I can't when we're in there cleaning it and you have to walk in there. It's really, really hard to scoop out, to get
everything
out without your back hurting the next day. So it kind of
Sorry, my 5-year-old is off camera talking to his uncle. He wants my phone. We're using my phone to record, so.
He can have my phone.
I think your husband gave him his, but yeah.
5-year-old needs a phone, okay?
Yeah. You just got to be quiet, people, okay? He needs to be entertained for 45 minutes. This is hard. Yeah, I feel the chicken coop thing is very you have to remember all those tiny logistics, but that are just going to make your life so much easier in the long run. And I feel a lot of people don't think about just oh, it's fine, I can just bend over. No, you are not going to want to be bent over, shoveling and bent over. That is so uncomfortable. And so you have to be able to, you want to be able to stand up. And you want to be able to move around a little bit. It doesn't have to be freaking huge, but enough where you can maneuver, get it cleaned out with ease, and not have to be struggling and cursing at your chickens or inanimate objects.
And then you put it off, and that's not healthy.
And
for
that's
anything,
yes,
right?
exactly, right? Because it's going to be
a pain in
terrible,
the ass.
a pain in the ass, and you're I'll do it tomorrow.
I
do it tomorrow.
You can always if you have kids, you can always send them in there because they're shorter usually.
Itty bitty, right? No, for sure.
They're younger.
But see, my kids are no. My kids do not no. They're
cleaning out chicken?
No. Yeah.
No, mine help with the cleaning of the coops and the goat pens.
Honestly, ours isn't even big enough. I couldn't have them help me. There's just one person in here. And like I said, ours isn't I wouldn't call it a super tiny chicken coop. It's not, but I just want to do it quickly and get it done. See, that's me being super controlling.
I was it's just you.
I'll do it. No. It's okay. Go play. Mommy's going to do this. Because I'm going to get it done in 15 minutes. You're going to take a whole fucking day. I don't have time for that, okay?
Why?
Why don't I have time for that?
Yeah.
Most times we're busy, Shauna, as you well know.
As you well know. Jesus. What's on? Did we get them all?
All righty. Fencing. Don't put your time.
We already said that. Oh, wait,
blah.
LGDs.
So hitting on livestock guardian dogs again. So I made the mistake of we got ours as puppies, and I had done a ton of research. I did tons of research, and
She did. Like
I'm a researcher.
Overly researched.
The one thing I did do wrong, though, that unfortunately I did not happen upon that info until after the fact. I got two puppies from the same litter, and they were both males. If you must get two puppies from the same litter, highly suggest that you get a female and a male. Okay, they play off each other better. Our males to this day try to fight to sometimes the death, and I kind of blame my parents. It's like, and everyone else on the farm. It's like they always want to step in and break up their fights. And with dogs, you have to just let them fucking figure it out. They have to just be able to figure it out, because they have to be able to say, okay, see, I won. I'm the alpha. You are below me, and then it's fine. But because we kept stepping in, I feel like they still haven't decided, right? Because we're always breaking up their fights. They never get to finish.
Rainbow's definitely bigger.
Rainbow is huge. Caesar's not tiny, but Rainbow's definitely bigger than him.
And I feel like Rainbow has that more of a
aggression.
I don't say aggression. That makes it sound bad.
They're aggressive dogs. There's no doubt about it.
Dominant. That's the word I was looking
Fine.
for.
Dominant. I mean,
aggression sounds like it's a negative connotation.
Well, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just being realistic.
You are trying to be negative. The other thing,
the fencing.
The other thing is not just like you need a fence, but you need to get a the invisible fence, because without that invisible fence, they're going to want to expand their territory. Some breeds are more wanderers, like they want to wander more than others.
Yes,
but they are going to, and it's just going to cause you such a huge headache if you don't just spend the money. It is pricey, and then the work to put in the fence, you either have to dig it under driveways and putting up this wire all the way around your property. The dogs always have to have their collar on because that is what triggers the fence, right? But then you do not have to worry about them getting out. You don't have to worry about them knocking over your neighbor's trash cans.
Yeah, and I
you
can't
don't have
tell
to
you
worry
how
about
nice
them
that
getting
is
onto
to not have to worry
your neighbor's property and chasing their animals because they're young puppies and you haven't trained them yet. So many things that you don't have to worry about it. Just get the invisible fence.
I know hot wire can even work. We have a friend that does hot wire for hers, and that works beautifully. She does it on the top and the middle and the bottom, I believe. The thing with LGDs, like Shauna said, they're going to want to expand their territory all the time, and that's just a natural instinct in them, okay? And so they're going to just keep going and going, and just a physical fence, it's not keeping them in. These dogs can jump, hit extremely high heights. At one point, Caesar was jumping our 5-foot fence as he's a dog, and he's just like a gazelle, leaping over our 5-foot fence. They would dig all the time. Rainbow and him would dig out. And you're like, how did I not see this gigantic hole before they got out? And
it's they're big dogs.
Unreal.
It's like you could easily go in and out of that hole yourself. You don't have to use your gate anymore.
You could just how did you dig this hole in such a short amount of time? That's incredible.
They're amazing.
So anyways, they dig, they jump. But if you have the sport dog fence, the reason I like the sport dog fence versus the hot wire is because you can set it, right? They wear a collar, and then you set it with the main little thing. I'm totally blanking on the word for that thing. What would you call it? Like a panel?
Box?
Yeah, box, whatever. And you can set it for however close you want them to get to the fence. That's what you can set it for. I have mine set to the furthest it will allow them to get. So Caesar and Rainbow both cannot get within, I think it's 5 feet of the fence. They have to stay 5 feet back. And as soon as they, go over that 5 feet, they're going to be getting zapped. And that's how I want it, because like I said, Caesar, he just runs and jumps, and I had it set for a shorter width from the fence, and he would just take a running leap and just blow through it like a psychopath. And so, that sounds
weird.
Crazy.
What just happened?
It sounded way better though. So,
yeah.
And then because of that, because they wear those collars, they can't go up to the fence to dig, and it's just I wish I had done it right from the beginning. It was awful having to deal with the stress of. I would like leave and I'd be like, oh my god, okay, which one of them is getting out today? It was so stressful.
She can't keep them in her house because they would literally just make
Oh,
a
no.
hole through her wall to get out.
They have tried. Caesar tries. We accidentally left him in the house. We all left, and I think he was on my bed sleeping or something, just taking a nap. And it was like earlier in the day, and we leave and we come home, and he had practically clawed a hole right through our fucking wall. Like at the window, he had just clawed and clawed and clawed, brought up all that shit underneath your window. I don't know what that's called, but he destroyed it all.
I don't know.
You should still. It was awful. Juan had to redo it. Didn't do a great job. So, anyways,
Way to go, Juan.
yeah. So,
We even have the sport dog
Yeah.
collar. It's huge for
digital one,
for-
she's a brat.
for Poossin because
She would like to go out into the road and make herself into a poo pancake.
yeah.
That
sounds gross.
She's not the smartest. It's fine.
It's our
though.
little Chihuahua. If you're not watching, but they
He wants you to do something to his phone.
Okay, sorry. I have to.
Yeah, they're little Chihuahua, and she is constantly, before they put the sport dog fence in, before she wears her collar, she is constantly, she would just get out and she just like stands in the middle of the road and watches cars like come at her. Terrifying. So, they can keep, any dog for that matter. It helps with anything. And
that was relieving once we did it too.
right, because then you don't have to worry about her. She puts her collar on and you just let her outside. And you're like, well, go have fun. I
Yeah.
know you're not getting out the fence though.
Yeah, it's so nice.
So nice.
Lots of things to think about before you just jump in. Try to avoid all the mistakes we have made.
Yeah, for
All
real.
that. Yeah.
For sure.
Don't get a bunch of fruit trees because you're gonna be sad in a few years. Really, really
Put the
sad.
damn deer fence in.
Even with the like fencing just like around the perimeter of the tree, I just feel like it's never enough. The deer will get to it. They want to eat your fruit.
I mean, even our goats get to them. We tried to fence
Yeah.
because we have so many oak trees all over the property, and so within each goat pen, there's at least like 4 or 5, and so we would, put a fence around these stupid trees. The goats got to them. They just, and they nibble all the bark, and the tree starts to die. You're like, you fuckers.
Yeah, that's like honestly, in our lower field with our Nigerians, we only have like the one big oak tree,
Right,
there.
right.
And they already
Nibbling
they haven't. So they've taken out just like the top part of the bark, but not the bark completely.
Right.
But that's how like the trees get their.
Yeah.
That's how they like from their roots to go up to the tree. That's how it passes along that bark. So if the bark gets taken off, it's called like girdling the tree, and your tree will die. So there's things that you can do to try to protect it.
I don't think we did a good enough job at our tree fencing
So
when we originally did it years ago. That was our problem. We should have just done a much better job and put like 3 or 4 layers of chicken wire around it.
Even the chicken wire, if you're not careful and you're not,
Well, it can grow into the tree
It will
and
grow.
stuff.
It
Yeah.
does the same thing. So
Yep.
even chicken wire is not good enough. You should just put like pallets around the trees you want. To
Oh,
make
like
sure.
you're saying, like build an actual structure.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very smart.
Yeah, because anything else is just not going to be good enough, or it will kill the tree anyways if you're not careful, if you're not going out there, every few months to check if the wire's growing into the tree.
And that's a great idea with the pallets, because pallets are always free. Always get them free, by the way. Don't buy them. And if you put them close enough but just far enough away, you would have to figure out, depending on how tall your goat was, they can't jump over it because they're not going to want to jump into that tiny of a space. But at the same time,
thinking of that
they
Coco Melon song.
They won't
Can't jump over it. Can't go under it. It's in my head now.
Of course, that was stuck in your head. Yes.
Gotta go around it.
Okay. I was telling Dad last night, because Dad tried to feed Frodo this little piece of Frodo's my Chihuahua Pomeranian. He's super picky, and so my dad is giving all the dogs a treat. Like they're like legit dog treats, and he leans down. He gives one to Sheba, my parents' little old dog, and he gives one to Frodo. And Frodo's like, no, and he's very picky. And so I was like, chicken, cheese, and toast. Chicken, cheese, and toast. Chicken, cheese, and toast is what he loves the most. And Dad's like, what? I'm like, it's Frodo's treat song. It's what he loves the most. He's like, thanks a lot. That was stuck in my head forever. I'm like, you're welcome.
I have.
It was very funny.
I have songs for all my dogs.
I know you do.
Yeah, we have an angry 5-year-old. So.
Yeah, hold on. I'm just gonna be right back. I promise.
I
you
think
can take the helm.
I'm gonna sign off of this.
You're gonna
one.
sign off.
So-
Okay, well, we're gonna sign off. There we go. With a whining fire in the background. You're welcome. Hope you enjoyed it. You know the drill that I always say. I'm not gonna say it because he's whining. Subscribe, share, yay. Okay.
Thank you guys for stopping by and listening.
Thank you so much.
And we will talk to you all next time.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.